Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Specifically, I'm playing the Ace Attorney trilogy version on the PC. And let me tell you, I am excited as hell to play this game again, especially on the PC. Because I'm very curious to see if Capcom has indeed taken the first three Ace Attorney games and given them the full PC HD treatment that I felt that they've had a long time coming. Now, Ace Attorney, or to be more specific, the second game in the original Ace Attorney trilogy happens to be my first visual novel game ever. I bought that game at a retail outlet for like $20 or something. I think I got it real cheap. I wasn't familiar with the concept of visual novels or anything like that at the time, and something about the game just drew me in. So I bought it, I played it, and I really enjoyed it. Then I decided to look into the rest of this series, then eventually I bought the first Ace Attorney game, and then I bought the third. And over the years, I pretty much played every single Ace Attorney game, except for the great Ace Attorney games, which have yet to be localized outside of Japan. But outside of that, I played every single one that we were able to get here in the West, including the fan translation for one of the Ace Attorney investigation games. The second one, actually. So, on top of owning the original Ace Attorney trilogy on the original DS, I also own the 3DS port of the 3DS port of those games, which updated the graphics and whatnot. And well, now I got my hands on the PC version of that, which in of itself is an update of that version, I think. And well, besides just playing this game, besides playing an old game I hadn't played in a little while for fun, I'm going to be also, just mostly anyway, except when I decide to talk about it, just comparing and contrasting how they handle all the animations for the characters, sprites, how the art looks, all that stuff. I'm just going to be comparing everything that I see from what I remember of the two other versions of the game that I played before, because I really hope they did a good job with this thing. Because I really want to give this PC port a high recommendation, because I pretty much give the Ace Attorney series in general a high recommendation. If you have any interest in getting to visual novel games, or if you already like visual novel games but you want to have something that is fun, a bit more involved than just simply choosing a few selections here and there throughout the story while throwing some fun and at times humorous murder mystery plots. I can't really recommend Ace Attorney enough for that sort of thing. If that's what if that sounds like something you'd be interested in playing. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to go ahead and start Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first game, and over time I'll get around to playing the other two. But I'll do the first game for now, and then wait a little bit between each new game here, because as fun as I know I would personally have playing the original Ace Attorney trilogy again, I think I want to space out Let's Plays of the first three games here in between all the other content I might be making. So at least that way I'm not flooding you guys for several months straight of worth of Ace Attorney videos. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get this game started. Episode 1, The First Turnabout. Let's do this! Achievement unlocked. First steps. Damn it! Why me? I can't get caught. Not like this! I've got to find someone to pin this on. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it. So far, so good. on the artwork. It looks pretty similar to what I remember seeing in the 3DS version, but upscaled. So they also have the dialogue box. The dialogue box looked different. In the DS and 3DS versions, it had a kind of dull brownish hue to it, with a thick border surrounding it. But here it looks different. It doesn't look bad, but I don't know. I think I might prefer the old one. Who knows? Maybe this one will grow on me. Okay. Boy, I'm nervous. So, options. Okay, right bumper is for the court record. So, I'll go ahead and explain this a little bit here. Actually, you know what? The game itself will explain what all this is here. But I will in greater detail. But, well, as you can probably no doubt surmise just by looking at this thing and going by where I am, I'm in a court of law, and I got some court duty to perform. And this is basically where I have all my evidence. I'm trying to think. I'm using my Logitech F710 gamepad, but when I try to hit the back button, it doesn't bring up the options thing. Okay, so I guess it's the start button on my controller. So let me try saving. Okay, I have 10 save slots available. Thought it'd be more than that since this is like the PC version. But whatever, I'll take it. Okay, let's do this. Boy, am I nervous. Right! Oh, hiya, Chief. Phew, I'm glad I made it on time. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. Well, so far the blinking animation seems fluid enough. As with mouth movements. It says a lot about you. And your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before this case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him out any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. It's over! My life! Everything! It's all over! Is that your client screaming over there? Yeah. It's him. Death! Despair! Oh! I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna die! It sounds like he wants to die. Astute observation, Mia. Yeah. Nick! Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty! Tell him I'm guilty! Give me a death sentence! I ain't afraid to die! What? What's wrong, Larry? It's all over. I'm finished! Finished! I can't live in a world without her! I can't! No! You took her away from me, Nick! Who did this? Oh, Nick, you gotta tell me! Who took my baby away? The person responsible for your girlfriend's death? Newspapers say it was you. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here's the story. My first case is a fairly simple one. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her. Larry Butts. My best friend since grade school, excuse me. I almost said high school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it was usually the butts. Still makes me smile hearing that saying. Really though, what an unfortunate name. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. So, here are the character profiles. So we got Mia Fey at age 27, chief attorney at Fey & Co., my boss, and a very good defense attorney. Larry Butts, age 23. So, you've known him for 23 years, so you basically have known each other since you were infants. So, your parents must be acquainted with each other or something. The defendant in this case, a likable guy who has been my friend since grade school. Well, going by what you just said in the dialogues down there, you've known each other longer than that. Cindy Stone, age 22. The victim in this case, a model. She lived in an apartment by herself. Probably the very apartment that we got, most likely the very same apartment that we saw her get murdered in. And, I might as well just go ahead and say this here. Since I have played the original Ace Attorney games and pretty much every single game beyond there, I pretty much know what's going to happen throughout the entire game, and with this case. But I will make sure that I don't say anything that could risk giving out any spoilers for you guys, and I will instead just focus on any evidence or statements that characters make that can allow me to make deductions on what's going on or how to look at certain pieces of evidence, etc., right as it's right in front of me. So that way, I can make my theories, even though they aren't really theories for me anyway, without really giving anything away, because I'm only using what is right in front of me here to piece together my theories, my ideas. Otherwise, I'd just be quiet for a lot. Otherwise, I'd just end up being quiet for a lot of this stuff here. And, well, frankly, I don't want to keep my mouth shut for this. Especially not this game. Hopefully, I'll succeed. Hopefully, I won't end up just saying something I shouldn't. And just ruining something. But I'm going to try to be optimistic about it. He has a knack for getting himself in trouble. One thing I can say, though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. With a name like that, I can believe it. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart. That, and I owe him one. Which is why I took the case. To clear his name. And that's just what I'm going to do. August 3rd, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Oh, there he is. The judge. The one and only! How I've missed you, my bearded friend. I've missed you dearly, and you look better than I've ever seen you. Please don't change. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. And you look fine and dandy yourself, Phoenix. Ahem. Mr. Wright, this is your first trial, is it not? Yes, Your Honor. I'm a little nervous. Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Thank you, Your Honor. Such an intense glare. It sometimes sends tingles down my spine. How I've missed you. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Yes, Your Honor. Gulp. Hand shaking. Eyesight fading. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please state the name of the defendant in this case. Well, luckily, you will be asked questions like these throughout this court case, and some of them will go against you, depending on what you choose. But since we're right in the very beginning, it won't really matter here, even if I choose wrong. So, just for the fun of it, I'm going to select the wrong. I'm just going to select the wrong ones before getting the right one. I'm going to name myself as the defendant. Besides, a lot of these wrong answers can be pretty funny, and for me, that's reason enough. The defendant is me, right? Right! Have you completely lost your mind? Focus! The defendant is the person on trial. You're his lawyer. Oh yeah, right. This is no laughing matter. You did pass the bar, didn't you? So I think. Sorry, I couldn't hear your answer. I'll ask once more. Please state the name of the defendant in this case. I'm gonna name you Mia. The defendant? That's, Mia Fey? Wrong, right. Look, I have to leave. I have to go home. I'm expecting a delivery. Aw, come on, Chief. There's no need to be going so soon, is there? Listen, Wright. The defendant is the one on trial. Your client. I mean, that's about as basic as you can get. I put my foot in it this time. I've got to relax. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your answer. Okay, that's enough screwing around. Achievement unlocked. Please turn in your badge. Okay, that was totally worth it then. The defendant? Well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor. Correct. Just keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what was the victim's name? We already saw that in the case with Cindy Stone, as we can see with the profiles here. Oh, and here's our prosecutor. Winston Payne, age 52. The prosecutor for this case. Lacks presence. Generally bad getting his points across. What a very unflattering profile we got for him. Poor guy. Phew, I know this one. Glad I read the case report cover to cover so many times. Not that I'm gonna make you reflect that. It's... wait. Uh-oh. No. No way. I forgot. I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name? Oh, the victim. Of course I know the victim's name. I just forgot. Temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Just press tab to check it at any time, okay? Or right bumper if you're using a gamepad like yours truly. Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging you. Mr. Wright, who is the victim in this case? Cinderblock! Oh, wasn't it Miss Block? Miss Cinderblock? The person in question was a victim of murder, not ill-conceived in naming, Mr. Wright. Well, that's definitely more than can be said of my client. Right? If you forget something, use tab to check the court record and jog your memory. A mistake in court could cost you the case. I'll ask you again. Mia Fey. Mia Fey? What? How can I be the victim? Oh, right. Sorry. It was the first name that popped in my head, and the court record, right. Remember to use it when you're in a pinch with tab. I promise these wrong answers get better with time. Now, let's go with Cindy Stone now. The victim's name is Cindy Stone. Correct. Now, tell me, What was the cause of death? She died because she was, well, hit with a blunt object, but once again, I'm gonna detour. Alright, wasn't she, poisoned by her... poison? You're asking me? Chief, help me out. Check the court record. Tab. Remember? Jeez, give a guy a break. I'm not giving her any reason to, so... yeah, let me ask again. She died because she was strangled. Right. She was strangled, wasn't she? Please tell me that was you talking to yourself. If you wish to hang yourself, Mr. Wright, you're welcome to, but not inside my courtroom. I suppose there's nothing to do but to give you another try. She died because she was hit with a blunt object. That was a better one. She was struck once by a blunt object. Correct. You've answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You know, ignoring all the wrong answers I gave up until now. But, well, we're not going to talk about those. We're just going to pretend that everything is A-okay with me. That I am 100% competent and ready for this trial of murder. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then. First, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor? As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Would you explain to the court just what that object was? The murder weapon was this statue of the Thinker. Yep, that's a Thinker. It was found lying on the floor, next to the victim. I see. The court accepts it into evidence. Statue. A statue in the shape of the Thinker. It's rather heavy. Statue added to the court record. Okay, so yeah, anytime I get new evidence or new evidence submitted, it'll go right into the court record here for, you know, review and, well, whenever I'll need to present my evidence, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use tab to check the court record frequently. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Butts, to the stand. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Like what I've been doing? Uh-oh. Larry gets excited easily. This could be bad. I saw that face twitch. Ahem. Mr. Butts, is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you? Hey, watch it, buddy! We were great together! We were Romeo and Juliet! Cleopatra and Mark Antony! Didn't they all die? Yes, they did. I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls. Or seeing me. Ever. What's it to you anyway? Mr. Butts, what you describe is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you, and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies! All of it, lies! I don't believe a word of it! Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris in the day before she died. You know, I think this is the first time I've ever seen the passport text look this legible. United States of America. Yep, I'm definitely in Japanifornia. And to those of you who are unfamiliar with the Ace Attorney games or series and don't know what the hell I mean by Japanifornia, I'll keep it brief. In Japan, the Ace Attorney games take place in Japan, but localized for the West, here in America, and I think maybe Europe as well, but at least for sure America. For some reason, they decide to make the main setting of the Ace Attorney series in California. Specifically, an alternate history version of it, where large amounts of Japanese immigration took place, leading up to the present time in which the Ace Attorney games take place in. So there is a lot of cultural crossover between American culture and Japanese culture, right down to how the courts are run in the state. Hence why if you were to look at this game from a Japanese cultural lens, that's why you would see a lot of Japanese cultural things lying around here, from how the court system itself is run, as we'll see with this game, to things you'll see in the game's world, all this other stuff. Don't ask me why they decide to make this kind of change for the Western localization, because honestly I couldn't really tell you. It's something I'm still trying to wrap my head around even to this day. Just roll with it is what I suggest for you guys to do. Just roll with it. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died. Passport. The victim apparently arrived at home from Paris on 7:30 the day before the murder. On July 30th, excuse me. Indeed, she appears to have returned a day before the murder. Dude. No way. The victim was a model, but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies. Daddies? Sugar? Poor butthead. Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. That is indeed a sugar daddy. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. And that does sound like a sugar baby. Well, then again, I don't know what they're called. The receiver of the sugar daddy. Dude. We can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now? Right. I don't think he wanted to answer that question. Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Plus, I think that's not exactly a kind of question you should be asking in court of law. But then again, as I just pointed out, this is a court system that it doesn't exactly run by North American standards. So, what the fuck do I know? I'm no expert on the Japanese legal system. Should I... Let's try to stop him from answering. My client has no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case. Oof. Wince. Dude! Nick! What do you mean irrelevant? That cheating she-dog! I'm gonna die! I'm just gonna drop dead! Yeah! And when I meet her in the afterlife, I'm going to get to the bottom of this! Let's continue with the trial, shall we? You know, I'm curious. With the PC version, did they add a backlog option? Because later Ace Attorney games have backlogs, so you can look at previously spoken text in case you want to review stuff. And so far, that doesn't appear to... It looks to me like that doesn't appear to be the case, unless there is like a hidden little button or sequence of buttons I'm supposed to push or something. But right now, I don't really feel like looking that up at the moment. So, I'm just going to keep playing and hope I don't accidentally skip over anything. Because if I do, I want to apologize in advance. I believe the accused's motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Oh boy, this is so not looking good. Next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Well, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did, and maybe I didn't. Uh-oh. He went. What do I do? Well, it's tempting to try to stop him from answering again, considering how he's been acting all the way up until now. But instead, I'm going to have him answer honestly, because having the honest facts here from his perspective here will honestly be better for me here. So, especially if I'm going to compare his words to any other people who may want to present their own accounts. Definitely something that you should try to strive for whenever possible when it comes to later court cases. So, I'm going to have you answer honestly. I know. I'll send him a signal. Tell the truth! Yeah. I was there. I went. Order! Well, Mr. Butts? Dude, chill! She wasn't home, man. So, I didn't see her. Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying. The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Well, that simplifies matters. Who is your witness? Even your surprised look looks so great in HD. I'm going to enjoy looking at it repeatedly. The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery, he saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. And this is where I think, is it that guy from the intro who actually did the deed? Order. Order in the court. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Sawit to the stand. Sawit. Get it? Frank Sawit. Just look at that grin. Mr. Sawit, you sell newspaper subscriptions. Is this correct? Oh yes. Newspapers, yes. Mr. Sawit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Witness testimony. Witness's account. And here is where we're going to get testimony from a witness. So pay attention. I was going door to door, selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry, because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there. A woman, not moving, dead! I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. Now you can, while you're listening to witness testimony or any statement really, look at the court record at any point. So he says that he remembered the time the murder took place was 1 p.m. But if we look at Cindy's autopsy report, the cause of death was listed between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. So there is a 3 to 4 hour gap between Said's testimony and the autopsy report. So we already got a contradiction right here between the evidence that we got here and Sawit's statements. Now, how I'm going to present that contradiction, I will show you very soon. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. Larry, why didn't you tell the truth? I can't defend you against a testimony like that. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building. Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Sawit used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Blackout record. Electricity in Mrs. Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. So we already got another contradiction here. Because if Sawit used the phone in her apartment that we just saw right there, but if there was a blackout occurring, how was he able to use it? There wouldn't be any power to the phone. So that's two contradictions that we were able to spot right there already. Now, Mr. Wright. Yes. Yes, Your Honor? You may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination, Your Honor? All right, Wright. This is it. The real deal. What exactly am I supposed to do? Why, you expose the lies and testimony the witness just gave. Lies? What? He was lying? Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. I'm way ahead of you, Mia. First, find contradictions between the court record and the witness's testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay. You make it sound so vindictive, Mia. Open the court with tab, then point out contradictions in the testimony. Cross-examination. Witness account. This is where I basically get in the witness's face and ask him questions. And if I find a contradiction, rub my evidence in his smug little face. I was going door to door, selling subscriptions when I saw a man flee an apartment. Now, you see this little bar right here in the upper right corner? This is basically your health bar. Now, what happens is if you try to present evidence on a wrong statement, basically you tried to point out a contradiction that doesn't exist, or you otherwise do anything else during the court proceedings that will piss off the judge in some way, your health bar will take a hit. It could be just like one mark, or it could be multiple, depending on how severe the offense is. If you run out of health at any point during the trial, game over, basically. Your client gets a guilty verdict. The judge will say, enough of this shit, I'm tired of listening to you. This man's guilty, get out of my courthouse. So it's definitely important, so you cannot afford to screw up lest you want to increase your chances of failing. Second, you've probably also seen a new function down here with the left bumper called press. Now what this does is allows me to select statements that the witness makes during their testimony and press for further information about those statements. Like for example, I'm going to select this very first one here and press. Isn't a man leaving an apartment a common sight? I find it odd you would take notice of him. I don't know. He just seems strange to me, that's all. Like he was mad and yet frightened at the same time. Just like a criminal fleeing the scene of a crime. You would know, wouldn't you? The defense requests that witness refrain from conjecture. Of course. What the witness means is that the man he saw looked suspicious. So what happened next? So the whole purpose behind pressing, besides getting extra bits of information from bits of dialogue, is you may sometimes find during the witness's testimony that none of what they say during the testimony itself has anything that you can contradict with your evidence. So, In order to find out more information you might be able to use, that's where pressing comes in handy. But, luckily, I don't really need to press anything here for this particular testimony, because I already know what contradicting statement he's already made. It's already there. So, if you want, you can just keep pressing just to basically get more information out of him just for the sake of it. Otherwise, if you don't really care about that, you can just go ahead to where you think you found the contradicting statement, present your evidence, and then see if you're right. But before I move on, I think I might as well just go ahead and press, because keep pressing until there's nothing left, because I don't really think it'll harm anything. They're not terribly long. Half open, you say? Yes, the door was open halfway. Yes. I watched for a moment, but no one came to close the door. That's odd, in a big city like this, I thought. I see. And what happened next? Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. What gave you the idea to do that? Well, the door was half open, you see. Isn't it only human to want to peek? We climb mountains because they are there. It's the same thing. Truer words have never been spoken. Anyone would look inside. Not really, but maybe most people would. Why did pain cut him off so quickly? So, you looked into the apartment. What happened then? Then I saw her lying there. A woman, not moving, dead. Are you sure she was dead? Well, no, I guess I wasn't. But she wasn't moving at all, and there was blood everywhere. I guess that would look fatal to anyone. Very well, what happened next? I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. Then how were you able to reach the phone? Contradiction number 3! So, you didn't touch anything in the apartment? Yes. I mean, no. Nothing. And you just confirmed my third contradiction. Thank you, buddy. You're only helping my case. Okay, what happened next? I thought to call the police immediately. You thought to call the police. Does that mean you didn't actually call them? Please, listen to the rest of the testimony. You thought to call the police. What happened next? However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. Oh, wait. I got a little ahead of myself on the blackout record thing. Shit. So, never mind, we can ignore that thing. The phone in her apartment wasn't working? Yes. I mean, no. No, it wasn't right. Well, you said you didn't go into the apartment. Or did you? Oh, that? I can explain that. There was a cordless phone on the shelf in the entranceway. I reached inside and tried using that to call. And that phone wasn't working, correct? What happened next? I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. Why use a public phone? Well, you see, I don't have a cell phone. And being in the middle of the afternoon, there was no answer at the nearby apartments. Ah, right. What time did you call again? I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. Now, this is our contradicting statement. I'll just go ahead and press it anyway. 1 p.m. Are you certain? Yes, absolutely. Then I am absolutely certain that you are dead wrong. No pun intended. He seems really confident. 1 p.m. Right. Doesn't that seem strange to you? I know exactly why it's strange. I'm already way ahead of you. Present some evidence to contradict him. The man who ran was without doubt the defendant sitting right there. Are you absolutely 100% positive? Yes, it was him. No mistake about it. The witness says he's certain. That's all of it. There must be a contradiction in there somewhere. Examine the court record with Tab if something strikes you as being suspicious. Then, find the evidence that contradicts his testimony presented to the court. Now, if you're having trouble figuring out what statement exactly to look for, what to look for in a testimony, you can skip all the way to the very end of a testimony, and then the characters will give a brief summary over what they just heard, and they'll just think to themselves what it is they're trying to look for. You can basically use that to determine your hint, to determine what exactly you need to look for in the testimony itself. Anyway, let's just go ahead and just contradict this asshole. So, right bumper, present. We want the autopsy report. Objection! If you don't hear any music when you present your evidence, that means you made the right choice. If you still hear it, prepare to be in for a world of hurt. You found the body at 1 p.m. You're sure? Yes. It was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. You know, the music is a bit quiet. I'm going to assume you guys can hear me okay. If somehow this ends up being too loud, then I can just turn it down a notch. But I mean, I don't want you guys to miss out on fantastic music like this. To me, it's one of the best parts of this series. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death at sometime after 4 p.m. There was no body to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? You're sweating a little bit, buddy. Feeling a little hot? Oh, that! This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time. After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. You and me both, Sir Judge. Mr. Sawit. Why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m.? Gee, that's a really good question. No kidding. Great job, Wright. Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. See through one, and their whole story falls apart. Wait! I remember now. Would you care to give your testimony again? Witness testimony, the time of discovery. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. Okay. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Oh, but that was 3 hours off, wasn't it? So you're saying it came off from the television, but electricity was out from Mrs. Stone's apartment from noon to 6 p.m. So you shouldn't have heard a television at all. So here is our next contradiction. I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a taped program. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. I see. You heard a voice saying the time on a taped program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Right. You know what to do. I've got this one. Yeah, I'm just now noticing I'm not seeing any shots of Phoenix's and Payne's faces over the witness testimonies or the cross-examined things, which you would see if you were playing on 3DS versions. Like, you get these little banners across the screen showing their faces as though they're staring each other down. So that is definitely an unfortunate change. Okay, I'll just go ahead and save again. Definitely a good idea to save often during the trial, especially if you're feeling confident that you're doing well as far as, you know, making correct statements and such, like as shown with your health bar. And especially later on, because some of the trials can get pretty long, so That way, if case later on, as you're progressing through a trial, if you do screw up too many times to get a game over, then you don't have to repeat the whole damn trial in order to get to where you were before. So, yeah, it's generally a good rule of thumb to do. Okay, so you heard the time, so elaborate. You said you heard, not saw. Yes, heard. All I saw was a body lying there. I didn't think to look at anything else, least of all my watch. Isn't that a little strange? So you're saying you heard something, but if you were so shocked by the body, you wouldn't hear anything at all. The witness did say he actually heard the time. It's ludicrous to suggest he wouldn't hear anything. I have to agree with the prosecution. Witness, continue your testimony. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Now, you're sure it's a television, right, buddy? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Are you sure it was a television and not a radio? Well, no, I guess it might have been a radio. Incidentally, there was no radio on the premises. There was only one large television. Right. I can't put my finger on it, but something about this seems fishy. I'm already way ahead of you, Mia. Something about hearing the television. The witness has testified. He heard the time. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? How do you explain the gap? Well, witness, can you explain this? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a tape program. A video? Yes, that would explain why the time was wrong. True. Right. I think the problem lies someplace else. Now, don't get so critical of me, Mia. I know what I'm doing. We're agreed that you heard the time at the scene then. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Are you sure the voice you heard said it was 1 p.m.? Yes, I can practically hear it now. It was quite clear. Mr. Payne, has the prosecution verified this testimony? My apologies, Your Honor. I, too, have only just learned that the witness heard the time. Oh, I'm really sorry. I only remembered it just now. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. Well, you just watch it. How much point pressing on that one was there? Nope. Notice anything suspicious. Yup. So we got two likely statements with this one that you would probably think would be the right one to present your evidence on. It's this one, which we would then use to present the blackout record, or it would be 1 p.m. Which also mentions the time from when the building, her apartment was, the time from the blackout, from being noon to 6. But I think, if memory serves, I'm supposed to present the blackout record on this statement right here. So, let's see if I'm right. Objection! Yep, I'm right. Thank God. Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of the discovery. And this record proves it. Got you again, buddy. You couldn't have heard television. Or a video. Yeah. The defense has a point. Do you have an explanation for this, Mr. Solid? No, I find it quite puzzling myself. Quite. Ah! Wait! I remembered now! Mr. Sawert, the court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility, you think? That, and you seem rather distraught. My apologies, Your Honor. It must have been the shock of finding the body. Very well, Mr. Sawert. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. Hearing the time. Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. That must have been what I saw. You saw a clock. I guess that would explain it. Never mind the fact that you have a watch. But actually, no, that doesn't work in this case. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Gladly. Okay. So you didn't hear the time, you saw it. That strikes me as a very suspicious mistake. Yes, I can see how you'd be a little doubtful. I'm really sorry. I only just remembered that table clock. The table clock? There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? A table clock. Was there a clock at the scene? This is the first I've heard of it. Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. The murder weapon? Yes, the table clock that was used as a weapon. That's just what I said. Did you doze off in the middle of my testimony or something? No, you just dug your grave for me. Because... looking at Cindy's autopsy report, the cause of death lists a loss of blood due to blunt trauma. It doesn't specify what the murder weapon is. In fact, I don't have the murder weapon at all within my evidence. So, that just begs the question. If the police or the prosecution doesn't know what the murder weapon is, how do you know it? Something's fishy here. It must have been what I saw. Why didn't you just tell us that in the first place? I guess it just slipped my mind. I'm not really sure how it happened to myself. The witness says he saw the table clock. End of story. Now find a contradiction. I know, Mia, I know. It's a table clock in the apartment. Now, I think this is the statement I want to press on right here. And I want to present the autopsy report. Ah, shit, I got it wrong. This evidence clearly reveals a contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. How exactly are that evidence in this statement just now related? They aren't, are they? Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think the facts over before making accusations. God damn it. I just want to get through this without making any mistakes. I think that won me 8 points to judge. There's a table clock in the apartment. Now that I made the mistake, and I'm now feeling a bit uncertain as to where exactly... There's a table. Statue in the shape of the finger, it's rather heavy. I think maybe what I was supposed to select was the statue. Yeah, it was a statue. Like I said, it's been a little while since I played these games. I know the general gist of what happens, but I don't remember every little detail. Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was a statue. Wait a minute. God damn it, that's why I didn't think I had the murder weapon. It didn't list... I forgot that they mentioned that the statue was a murder weapon during testimonies and shit like that, but they didn't bother to make note of it in the evidence, and it just went out one ear and out the other for me, I guess. Totally my bad. Totally my bad. Now, how is this supposed to be a clock? What? You with your objections and your evidence! Just who do you think you are? The defense attorney? Just answer the question, Mr. Solid. Hey, I saw it in there, okay? That's a clock! Your Honor, if I may. Yes, Mr. Payne? As the witness stated, the statue is indeed a clock. The neck is a switch. You just tilt it and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apologies. I see. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with his testimony now? Yes, I have a problem, because did you look at the statue? Do you see a time clock face anywhere on it? Your Honor, there is a gaping hole in the witness's testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Well, that too. Clearly a contradiction. Indeed. The witness knew it was a clock because he went into the apartment. You're lying! You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder! Oh yeah? Prove it! Prove I went in there! I'll do better than that. I can prove you were the one who killed her! You struck her with the clock, and the show of the blow triggered the clock's voice. That was the sound you heard! Order in the court! Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Saw it. The sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon just spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time. What's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture. Baseless. Just look at the witness's face. Would the witness care to elaborate? Please do. Did you strike the victim with the clock? That day, I never. Look, the clock. I heard, no. I mean, I saw. That always makes me chuckle. Shop, 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 shop! I hate you! It was him, I tell you! I saw him! He killed her, and he should burn! Burn! Give him death! Order! Order in the court, I say! Your Honor, a moment, please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defense's claims. Mr. Wright, Your Honor, you claim the sound the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. I better think it through carefully. So let's look over what we used so far. We've used her autopsy report, the statue, and the blackout record. The only evidence we haven't really found any use for is the passport. Although you will need to, on occasions, reuse the same bits of evidence again on certain testimonies. But for this case, we won't really need to worry about that, I think. Yeah, just always keep a close eye on the court record while you're examining testimony. Compare and contrast everything if you have to. And eventually, if you look hard enough, think hard enough, you'll find your answer. Your Honor, the sound Mr. Sawit heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is clear if you simply try sounding the clock. Let's sound the clock now, here in this court. Your Honor, may I have the clock? I ask the court to listen very carefully. I think it's 8:25. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. Well, he is the thinker, after all. True. So, we've heard the clock. What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time it is now? It's 11:25. As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. Precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Sawit heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Sawit, try talk your way out this one. Ha! Ha ha! You forgot one thing! Uh-oh. What's he talking about now? It may seem like that clock is running 3 hours slow. It proves nothing! How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case! That's right. How am I going to prove that? Damn it! I was so close. Mr. Wright, it seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. Oh no, I don't! I know exactly what evidence I need. Yes, Your Honor. This means I cannot let you indict the witness. Unfortunately. This ends the cross-examination of Mr. Frank Sawit. I come all the way down here to testify, and look what happens! You treat me like a criminal! A criminal! You lawyers are all slime! I almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. There's nothing I can do about it now. Oh, yes, there is. Not so fast, Mr. Sawit. Chief! Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this. Think. But, Chief, it's over. I can't prove the clock was slow the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that. Well, yes. But that doesn't mean you can't still win. Try thinking out of the box. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason and you'll have your proof. Right? Can you think of a reason as to why the clock would be 3 hours slow? I definitely can. And it's this passport. The victim was in Paris, so she adjusted the clock. So if she adjusted the clock to the time zone of Paris, then the clock would reflect that. She probably just forgot to adjust the clock when she came back. After all, she only got murdered the day after she came back. She probably wouldn't have had time to adjust it, or didn't think to anyway. Wait, maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, right? Find it and let them have it. Well, Mr. Wright, you say the clock was already running slow on the day of the murder. Have you found evidence to support this claim? Of course. There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Ha! Tough words. Let's see you pull this one off. Let's see this evidence that proves why the clock was running slow. Passport! The victim had just returned home from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. When it's 4 p.m. here, it's 1 a.m. the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast. The victim hadn't reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead in her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Sawit? Or should I say, Mr. Did It! What a bad pun. Joke. Are you alright? I saw you foaming at the mouth there. Order! Order, I say! Well, this case has certainly turned out differently than we all expected. No shit. For you, anyway. Mr. Payne, your witness. He was arrested and has been taken away, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Wright, Yes, Your Honor. I have to say, I'm impressed. I don't think I've ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly. And find the true culprit at the same time. Thank you, Your Honor. At this point, this is only a formality, but... this court finds the defendant, Mr. Larry Butts, not guilty! And with that, this court is adjourned. I rule. It turns out that Frank Sawit was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, when Larry went to her apartment, the victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Sawit let himself in to do his dirty work. While he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Sawit grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. And the rest, and that pretty much brings us to now. August 3rd, 2:32 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Phew. I still can't believe we won. I can. Right. Good job in there. Congratulations. Thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all. Not at all. You fought your own battles in there. Got that straight. Got that right. It's been a while since I've seen a trial end on such a satisfying note. I've never seen the Chief looking this happy. If she's this glad, imagine how Larry must feel. My life is over. Like shit. Larry! You're supposed to be happy! What's wrong now? Aw, Nick. Don't worry about me. I'll be dead and gone soon. Good! Wait, no! I mean, bad! Bad, bad, bad! Oh, come on. You sure you weren't being honest with yourself for a second, Phoenix? Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Wendy's gone, man! Gone forever! Larry, she was a... Nah, never mind. Congratulations, Harry. Harry? Yes, you. I can practically see the headlines now. Harry Butts, innocent. Like I said, unfortunate name. Thanks. I really owe you one. I won't forget this, ever. Let's celebrate. Dinner? Movie? Why treat? No, I couldn't. Hey, I was the one who got you off the hook. Oh, hey. Here, take this. It's a present. A present? For me? Wait. Isn't this the evidence that... Actually, I made this clock for her. I made one for her and one for me. Really? You? You made this? It's quite the piece of art. Well, thank you. I'll keep it as a memento. Yo, Nick. Can you believe it? I was so into that chick. And she was just playing me for a fool. Don't that make you just want to just cry? Larry. Are you so sure? Squeeze me? I think she thought quite a lot of you in her own way. Nah, you don't gotta sympathize with me. It's okay. No, I'm not just sympathizing, really. Isn't that right, Wright? Don't you have something to show your friend? Something that proves how she felt about him? Huh? Oh yeah, right. What the heck's she talking about? Now, this is something that also occurs at the end of each case. Presenting evidence to your client here regarding, because when it comes to, Larry needs to be reassured that, in this case, Larry needs to be reassured that Cindy thought more of him than just simply a fool. So, looking at the evidence that we have here, to me, the best evidence you can present is the statue because, well, what did she bring with her on her vacation? A statue, clock, much like this. So to me, it seems pretty obvious, going based on that here, that she must have thought at least good enough of him to bring a cumbersome clock like that with her. Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't just some chump to her. Huh? What about that clock? This is the clock you made for her, Larry. And she took it with her when she traveled. Whatever, she probably just needed a clock, that's all. You think so? It's a pretty heavy clock to take traveling. Well, make of it what you will. Hey, Nick. I'm glad I asked you to be my lawyer. Really, I am. Thanks. I hope that made him feel a little better. Right? I hope you can see the importance of evidence now. Also, hopefully you realize things change depending on how you look at them. People, too. We never really know if our clients are guilty or innocent. All we can do is believe in them. And in order to believe in them, you have to believe in yourself. Right. Listen. Learn. Grow strong. Never let go of what you believe in. Never. Well, I think our work here is done. Shall we be off? Yeah, I guess so. Say, how about dinner? On me. We'll drink a toast to Innocent Butts. That name is really unfortunate. Innocent Butts. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Harry, you were saying part of why you became a lawyer was because of him. Yeah. Part, at least. You'll have to tell me more about it sometime. Maybe over drinks. And so, my first trial came to a close. Larry slapped me on the back and said, "Gee, Nick, it's good to have friends." But I'm pretty sure he's not going to pay us. Unless you count the clock he gave Mia. I didn't know it then. But that clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. And my promise to tell the chief about me and Larry would be one promise I wouldn't be able to keep. Very ominous, if I do say so myself. The end. Achievement unlocked, the first turnabout. A brand new episode has been added. Saving content. Let's save my progress up till this point. Okay, so this has been... Oh. Okay, good. This is dialogue that's not going to go on its own. So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this episode off here, and we can start Case 2 in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I certainly did. I'm glad to be back to playing this game after so long. Ace Attorney series is pretty much my favorite visual novel series ever, really. You know, on top of also being my first. And I'm just excited, and on top of just playing these games in general, I'm just excited to see more of how this game got the HD treatment. So yeah, if you enjoyed this first episode of Ace Attorney and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys next time. Take care.